round. As you're joining in, if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's okay. It's just my accent. Welcome, everyone. And some familiar faces. Some people who do want to show cameras, that's all right as well, by the way. But you're very welcome. And Marina, do you want to share a screen?
Yes, I want to share screen because we have a beautiful slide deck which contains all the presentations that we're going to see today. So first of all, you see a lovely piece of nature. And let me pull up the deck and then pass the word back to you, Dave, so that you tell us what is gonna happening. Can you see?
Waterfalls are, oh yes, okay.
Yes,
I
okay.
want to talk about waterfalls. Very welcome again, everybody. Let's, this is preliminary round 1 of Process Innovation Challenge number 19. Let's talk about how does this go? So as we call it, what are the rules? Well, the rules in Dublinese, you've 3 minutes to pitch, every innovator, 3 slides, and there are 3 dragons. And we'll just ask you to mute until you're, so if you join us, just go on mute, that'll be great. So who are our dragons this time? Well, we have Salvo, some there earlier. There he is, there's Salvo. We have Olga, she's waving, and we have Celine. So what's going to happen when you're pitching is just before the 3 minutes are up. Oh, I've kind of jumped ahead, haven't I? But anyway,
yeah,
you're going to see this sign. So innovators, keep an eye out for that. 10 seconds left with the dragon, right? After that, you do get this. So please do stop when you see it. Otherwise, you're just going to invite me to interrupt you, which you don't want to do. So good. What else? Well, there's going to be one question from the dragons, and then you will be able to answer that. To keep your answers reasonably brief, and then we'll move on to the next innovator. That's what this session is going to be about today. Marina, how do we start all this?
Today we have quite a few super exciting presentations to listen to. I was looking at them and I just couldn't wait until Monday, honestly. And we're going to start with one which is coming from Africa. And let me invite to the stage Adéṣínà, who is going to talk about multilingual terminology bank for standardizing and sharing contextual African terms for localization and digital inclusion. The floor is yours, Adéṣínà.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my name is Adéṣínà, as I've been introduced. So I'll be speaking on the Termlog, a multilingual terminology bank for standardizing and sharing contextual African languages. We all know that Africa has a low resource landscape when it comes to languages. So what can Termlog do to bridge the divide? Next slide, please. So when we talk about localization today, we often look at the conversation in the angle and the perspective of AI tools. You know, it has been dominated by AI tools like Google Translate, ChatGPT, DeepL, and what have you. However, these technologies are not doing what is expected of them for African languages. Yes, they are doing good, they are powerful, but they cannot replace the cultural depth and the creativity of human translators. So this is where Termlog comes in. Unlike machine-driven solutions, Termlog is rooted in human localization, whereby we have a community of experts, linguists, technologists, journalists, and from all walks of life come together to coin new terminologies. Because in Africa, let's say we talk about health, we talk about artificial intelligence and what have you, there is a lacuna with terminologies that are equivalent to those terms in English. So what do? So these people come together to provide central reference points for culturally grounded technical vocabulary, ensuring terms are not just translated, but truly owned by the community. So through this community input, translators can suggest and refine terms. turning term into an evolving glossary shaped by professionals themselves. So the result is improved accuracy because translators avoid guesswork and use consistent terms that reflect both local usage and cultural understanding. Next slide, please. So you can play the video, please. Okay, so this is how the interface look like. So you can see the countries, and then we are starting with Nigeria first. Then we'll scale to other African nations. So you can see the domains, mathematics, technology, history, and world view. Right now, we have over 5,000 terms logged on the site by humans, not by machine. So once you type in your term there, you can actually toggle the language that you want, then you search, and it pops up. Then you see the suggestions. So you can actually rate the suggestions by translators. You also have a decomposition of the term. So time is up, and that's just a preview of the tool. Thank you.
Great preview. Thanks very much. Good on time, Adéṣínà. And let's take a question from Dragons. Celine, do you have a question?
I do. Thanks so much, Adéṣínà. That's a very exciting project. I have maybe several questions into one, but so I think you're really emphasizing on the human side of things, which is great. I'm just wondering how you would make this tool available to LSPs, for example, and how you would embed it into fine-tuning models so that it contributes to digital empowerment with AI as well.
Yes, so this is the first phase of the project. The current stage that we are now, we are collating those data, the languages. We get every day, there's a group on WhatsApp. So we get the time every day, we put on that WhatsApp group. Then people submit their suggestions. Then later on, we put it on the site. So we want other linguists to come on the site and rank the site. So once we've ranked those terminologies in the long run, we will turn them into APIs, then other organizations can make use of them. They are open source platforms though, so other organizations can come in, use them for LSPs, use them for training algorithms and what have you. But currently, we are collecting those data by humans, not by machine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Celine. Thank you, Adéṣínà. That was very interesting. Now let's move on to our second participant. And I am calling to stage Aimee Gallagher from Geotab, who is going to talk about AI localization with cross-language referencing and smart LQA. Aimee.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yep, my name is Aimee Gallagher, a localization specialist at Geotab, and I'm very excited to present our innovation, AI localization with cross-language referencing and smart LQA. In short, it's our solution for rapidly scaling high-quality UI translation for global markets. And it all starts with a key challenge. Next slide, please. So rapidly global expansion demands translating hundreds of our UI strings in low context formats into new languages where we lack training data. This results in methods which are not only costly, but those which create our biggest risk: inconsistency in terminology and formatting, which leads to a fragmented user experience. This isn't just a translation issue, it's a scalability and quality issue that required a new innovative approach. Next slide, please. Our solution is a multi-layered strategy, starting with what we call cross-language referencing. Instead of just using English, our AI treats our best existing translations to guide the new translations and ultimately eliminate ambiguity. But the real intelligence lies in the custom engineered prompts we've built for each language. In the first step, smart translation, the prompt not only guides the AI with reference patterns, but also enforces our official Geotab term base, guaranteeing correct terminology every time. In the second step, automated QA, the prompt gives the AI a custom checklist, ordering it to hunt for specific language-dependent errors, such as accents and punctuation to grammar, double spacing, before a human ever sees it. This multi-layered approach is what makes the process so robust and accurate. Next slide, please. So what's the impact? Well, we've validated this process, and human assessment of the AI's QA results confirmed that its findings were 99 to 100% accurate in our trial, which proves our model is highly effective, particularly for Romance languages. The results of this initiative have been a massive collaboration effort between our localization and content solutions team at Geotab. Based on these strong results, we've submitted this entire workflow to the prestigious LocWorld Process Innovation Challenge to showcase Geotab as a global leader in applying AI to solve real-world problems. Our vision is continuing to refine this dynamic tool and expand its capabilities to handle even more complex languages in the near future. Final slide, please. And that's my innovation for the PIC for LocWorld 54. Thank you for your time.
Well done, Aimee. Great on time, by the way. I didn't have to show you any of these. That was nice.
Oh, that's good, because I couldn't see you on the cameras.
Good stuff. All right. Well, you've one more step to or hoop to jump through, right? So we'll ask Salvo for a question.
Yes. Hi, Aimee. This is awesome. Can you give us a little bit more details on how you performed the evaluation? I understand it was human-based. Can you give a little bit more details?
Sure. Yep. So after we go through the process of first using the prompts and the two translations as validation to translate, and then the second step to perform the QA, we've then used within Geotab, we have native SMEs and linguists of the various languages, including those which we trialed for translation. So they looked through the source text, the two exemplary language translations, and then the results to just basically validate the results of AI. So we had a collaboration of linguists look through, for example, the French-Canadian strings, which were output by AI, and the reports to basically say, if the AI had said, there were errors here, these were the punctuation issues, we've just basically used a human linguist to say, this is correct, or this is not correct. And in the 500 strings we tested for this, for two various trials, one of them was 99% accurate in its results, and the other was 100. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. Can I ask one more question, or we're out of time?
We're out of time.
Okay, no worries, no worries. I'll ask afterwards.
Let's move on. Let's move on to. Thank you very much, Aimee. That was very, very interesting.
Thank you.
And now let's move on to localization technology partners and Brian McConnell, who is going to talk about how to turn a TMS into a CMS for app content.
Thank you. My name is Brian McConnell, and I've built out the localization tech and teams at about a half a dozen software startups. And what I do now is basically the same thing, just as my own business. So what I'm here to talk about is basically a hack for turning existing TMS platforms into content management systems for in-app content. Next slide, please. So the problem is, and I've seen this at literally every company I've worked with, most software companies maintain their source content in their code base. And the problem with this is it turns engineers into the world's most expensive copy editors. So, somebody wants to nitpick on a sign-in prompt or something at the top of the sign-up funnel. The engineer has to pull a Jira ticket, go into the code, edit the text, submit a pull request, and get other engineers to approve the pull request. So you end up spending $100 or $200 every time you do that. And that adds up to real money pretty quickly. I mean, if you have any amount of content in your app, whether it's a web or mobile app, that can easily add up to tens of thousands of dollars. So the solution is basically to use a TMS to edit your in-app content by quote unquote translating from developer English to US English or whatever locale you're using as your source locale. Next slide, please. So this is what that looks like, and this is just a screenshot from Lokalise, which is a widely used TMS for app localization. And basically, we're just translating from a generic English locale into US English. And so you can see a few examples here where I've tweaked the language a little bit. Next slide, please. So the benefits of doing this is, I mean, the direct cost savings that are easy to measure. Engineers' time is freed up so they can work on, functional improvements to the product instead of nitpicking on user copy or user-facing copy. The other benefit is design and user experience can iterate in parallel, so they're not blocked by engineers, and the engineers aren't getting tied up with requests from them. You also end up with better source text, so for future translations, you've got really good English or French or whatever your source language is, and that's going to result in better translations. And the real benefit of this is the same pipeline can be used for localization. And the important implication for TMS vendors is they can reposition themselves as sort of generic content management platforms. The importance of that is they can get in earlier in the customer life cycle before they've even thought about adding other languages. So this is something that companies can do like a year or 2 years before they even start thinking about adding other languages. And that's the idea in a nutshell.
Brilliant. Good to see you, Brian. Nicely told. Real pet topic of mine, I have to say. Quality at source of developers. Come on. Brilliant. Let's see if we have a question. Olga, do you have a question for Brian?
Sorry, it's better if I unmute myself. Brian, this is great. I was just wondering, is this, I mean, rather than like a brand new thing, because my understanding is that there are companies that have this already kind of as part of their process. Is it conceived as, professional services and solution for companies that do not have this and need to subcontract it and just basically roll in the the solution that they don't have, basically, if you know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, the issue is, like I said, pretty much every company I've worked with, later stage companies eventually deal with this, but early to mid, kind of mid-stage companies, they just do everything in code, and it's really inefficient. And this is kind of an easy solution that somebody can set up in like a day, and and then the less technical people that are editing user-facing copy, they don't have to touch a code base. They can just go into the TMS, edit the string, and move on, without requesting engineering time. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's a solution for less advanced, let's say, companies as a segment, as a target segment.
Yeah, but the thing is now, like, a really tiny company, they can blow up to a huge size if in like not that much time. So 10 years ago it would take you 5 or 10 years to get to a point where you'd be really operating at scale, but now that can happen in like a year. It's kind of nuts. I'm in San Francisco, so companies just come out of nowhere now.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Olga and Brian. And now let's move on to an old friend of the PIC, actually, BureauWorks and Gabriel Fairman. How many times have you already been at the PIC, Gabriel?
Six-time finalist.
Six time. That's great. So tell us more about explain suggestions.
Perfect. So yeah, it's actually now called Articulated Suggestions. And my name is Gabriel Fairman. I'm the founder and CEO of BureauWorks. And next slide, please. So human translation is in great danger of extinction. Even though translators invest so much time and effort into their edits, what's left in the end gets reduced to something with little to no perceived value. A log file, an edit distance, a terse score, purely mechanistic, statistical. All good tools of measurement, but none of them come close to conveying the value of human ingenuity. Buyers think AI is good enough. And can you blame them? All they see is output, not the decisions behind it, the judgment calls, the intent. But editing isn't just about fixing words. It's about reshaping subtle meaning. It's about operating not on the surface of language, but on the plane of ideas. When a human rewrites something, they're translating values, tone, audience, purpose. But none of them shows up in the final deliverable. It's just invisible. And buyers are left asking, why does this even matter? What if we could show the world the thought behind every little edit, though? What if we could create a true dialogue of ideas between the translator and the text they are working with? Next slide, please. Welcome to, and let's play the video. Welcome to BureauWorks BrainLink. Just kidding, but kind of not. Welcome to Articulated Suggestions. With AS, translators don't have to worry about making sense of TMs, glossaries, style guides, or reference materials. They get clear rationale for every suggestion, allowing them to make judgment calls faster and with better information. AS can also make sense of human edits, turning them into annotations. So in this case, if I decided to change cutting edge to advanced, AS can infer that I made the text less bold and optimize it for a broader audience. AS not only stores my edit itself, but captures the rationale behind it. In this other example, I'm going to replace the for our. This can seem like a trivial change, but behind it lies the intent of bringing the reader closer to our product. Now here comes the really cool part. AS can learn from these edits and use them for recommendations. Remember when I got rid of cutting edge? AS is now recommending that I also change various to several to make the text more accessible. And remember when I chose our? AS is also recommending that I change it to we to agree with that. Translating is not a matter of matches and log files anymore. It's a matter of the decisions people make and why they make them. Next slide, please. And what's so special about this? Well, other than making better editorial decisions and producing better writing, nothing. Just kidding again. In our initial study, translation buyers saw an average of 60 to 70% greater value when they could see the rationale behind translator choices. But this goes beyond perception. This is about restoring authorship. Because editing on the plane of ideas, not just words, means that every decision holds meaning. And when meaning is visible, it becomes valuable. Yes, we're making the process better, faster, and cheaper, and that matters. But more importantly, we're creating a future where human translators don't just assist the machine, they own the outcome, where their thinking, their values, their intent remain present in their work. Translations as we've known it may be over, but this may be the beginning of something far more human and far more enduring. Thank you.
Good stuff. Gabriel, great to see you.
Good to see you, Dave.
Nicely done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Celine, do you have a question for Gabriel?
I do, a really cool tool. I was wondering how you can validate the reasoning that is provided, but it's actually accurate, so that linguists can also add input and improve over time.
Yeah, the reasoning is editable. So linguists can change and disagree, rewrite the reasoning whenever they'd like to. So the whole idea is to create a consistent dialogue between the linguist and their product. And remembering that this is taking place in our free flow editor, that is, at least as far as I've known it, the first vector-driven editor in translations that's entirely departed from syntax, right? So the entire environment where they're working with is very free flowy in that sense. So they can interact with the suggestions, they can change exactly the rationale, and with the changes that they make, the annotations that they make are also going to change future understandings of what they represent for the overall vector system in which they're working in. But yeah, great question.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now let's move on and invite to the stage our next participant. And this is Insoo Jeong from Club 30, who is going to talk about cat tools versus Gen AI. It is the big question nowadays. Insoo, do we have you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Insoo
Hello.
from Seoul, Korea. I lead Club 30, a community of Korean translators who have over 30 years of global business experience. Can you show the slide? Next slide, please. Cat tool breaks down into segment and focus on individual word. However, Gen AI focus on context and meaning. There's a saying in Korea, when someone points at the moon, don't stare at the finger. That's what I see Cat tool and Gen AI. So I introduced this Gen AI-based translation method to my clients, and I am now working on this method with the two clients. I truly believe this method has the potential to transform our industry significantly. Next slide, please. Here is another story that is making a video out of PPT files. As shown on the slide, the process is very simple. I have created several videos this way for product manual and some training materials. Adding interactive features to videos will make them highly beneficial to users. The demand for video creation instead of video translation will increase sharply. Currently, I am discussing with the university the possibility of creating video content for basic undergraduate courses in this way. The idea is to allow professors to dedicate more time to specialized programs. Translating these videos into multiple languages could help attract more international students as well. It's still just an idea, but if it is carried out, it could have a tremendous impact on the university and society as a whole. Next slide, please. It is about the subtitle translation. The word order in Korean and English is very different, which becomes especially challenging when translating subtitles. I have developed a process to help overcome this issue. It is very simple. Generate the target audio first, and then generate the subtitle. This ensures that the subtitle aligns perfectly with the audio, making them sound natural and easy to follow. In my experience, this method can reduce translation time and cost by almost half. Video content is already in high demand. If we can save time and cost, that demand will only increase. Next slide, please. In conclusion, Gen AI is driving innovation everywhere. However, how and where we choose to use these new tools is what really matters. This reminds me of the saying, new wine needs new wineskins. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Insoo. You got me pointing at the moon and thinking about wine. That's not to like about that. Thank you very much. Salvo, do you have a question?
Absolutely. Great preso, Insoo. So the claim is remarkable. If you can cut in half time and cost, can you give a little bit more details on how you got to that figure? How did you measure that you were cutting time and costs in half?
Well, I don't have any tool to measure, but the savings of time and cost comes out of the translation of the audio. Most of the CAT tools I have seen, the issue is they segment the sentences. So what I mean is they cut the sentences into pieces. Now, the word order is totally different. So that takes quite a lot of time for me to edit the whole sentences, combine them all together, and then translate, and then segment it to the English audio. So the idea is very simple. Why not we generate the Korean audio first, okay? Then subtitle is simply just cutting the cake-like thing. So there comes a huge saving.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to the next person in line. And this is another veteran that we have in the PIC, and that is Konstantin Savenkov from Intento. Which number PIC is it for you, Konstantin?
Oh, honestly, I don't remember.
You haven't counted. We'll count for you. We'll count for you so we know next time. So please tell us more about how you move from translation to language governance.
All right. Hi, everyone. Next slide, please. So today, language industry focuses mostly on execution, and we put most of effort into translation, post-editing, developing tools for that, for humans in the loop. But execution becomes fully automatable, and our customers prove that. You can look at our recent report, where in many cases AI is preferred over human translation. The question is, once execution is automated, where goes the bottleneck? The bottleneck goes into governance, into defining requirements, ensuring AI meets them, and managing feedback. And now we're building tools for this new world, which enable humans to move from being in the loop to being in charge. Next slide, please. And start the video. So imagine you're starting to automate translation. You configure default workflow based on the latest benchmark, simply wanting good translations without diving into quality specifics. And your first automation task, translating user guides from English to Chinese. So you can run a sample translation in preview mode. All content goes automatically through LQA. And after translating several files, you see results. They're mostly green. There are a few issues. Now, you go into those issues detected by AI. You see that first of them is an omission. There's no reason to change the workflow. It's overall green, but you can fix just this issue using the AI suggestion. And since you don't speak Chinese, well, you can rely on AI explanation to see if this is justified. You can store it in translation stores for future use. Now, you look at the second issue and see the problem is that company name was not translated, but that's exactly what you want. You can skip it, but you realize there is a terminology consistency requirement, which you don't have. So you can add this requirement. You can go to your marketing team to get some glossaries and configure it. And after you've done it and applied and run more translations, you may see that this requirement is not met. So, okay, now you go to edit your translation workflows. You've done it, you manage, you translated some more files, you see it's good. And then your marketing team decides to translate HTML files into Spanish using the same workflow. And after they would do that, you will see how new issues would appear. But besides that, you also see that requirements may be incomplete. You go there and you see that AI suggests that since you're translating to Spanish, you may be specific about your tone of voice. If you're translating files with tags, you want to be specific about how you handle those tags. So you follow these recommendations, you configure both requirements, informal tone of voice and HTML tag handling as a critical. You run some translations, see they're not met. That's a second reason for you to go and adjust the workflows and see how now it works. Next slide. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah, we have to stop you there, Konstantin. Sorry
Sure.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, time catches up. Very interesting. Language governance. Is this have we heard it here first? Maybe? I like that a lot. Olga, do you have a question for Konstantin?
Yes. So I think that first of all, I mean, language governance is where, you know, the market is headed. And we were discussing this at the last house conference, by the way. But my question is, what are the fallbacks and safeguards for this type of tool?
Fallbacks and safeguards.
And safeguards, yes, considering that it's all, you know, LLM driven, as far as I understand.
Well, I would say that the ultimate safeguard is your end user feedback. And the whole idea of this tool is, you know, you can define your requirements, you can set up your process, and everything will be green. But you know that every time it will be some representation of reality. So there may be some requirements you don't know. And you receiving feedback from your linguist, from your end user, from your subject matter experts, and you are incorporating this feedback. So this tool is actually to triage this feedback. And this is how safeguards work as well. With every item you receive, every feedback you receive, it kind of enables you to have traction with reality. If something goes against how your users see that, you will see it immediately because the tool will force you to update your requirements, if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Konstantin.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, Olga, for the question. Now let's move on to our next participant or participants. let me invite to the stage Kunqi and Jian. I see also joined representing Centific and their Lucia app, which is helping kids all over the world. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Kunqi Wang from Cate High School, here with my colleagues in Centific. Today, we're excited to share Lucia, a multilingual, culturally adaptive AI companion for youth mental wellness. Next slide, please. Across the globe, teenagers are facing rising levels of anxiety, stress, and loneliness. As a high schooler, and as I trust every single person here has been a high schooler, we understand only too well the things that we can't say to our parents or friends. Next, and here's the gap. Mental health support is often scarce, fragmented, and rarely adapted to the language or culture of those who need it. Literal translations don't capture emotional nuances, slang, tongue, or stigma, and this leads to communication, isolation, and lost trust. Those who speak another language, we almost never speak like the textbook or Google Translate. Those feel only like a shell of our real language. Additionally, existing hotlines and counselors cannot scale to provide safe, multilingual, and 24/7 support. In the late nights where we need them the most, these therapists are asleep. Next slide, please. This is where Lucia comes in. Lucia is a localization-first AI system co-created with linguistics and mental health experts. It adapts slang, tone, and cultural norms so teens feel truly understood. When English anxiety becomes the Spanish ansiedad, that sounds clinical and scary, rather than the more relatable nerviosismo. The very thing that makes WebMD notorious is what makes Lucia effective. Next slide, please. And you can click the video in the left side for me. Lucia is not simply an idea, it's already in use. We are piloting with high school students in partnership with the nonprofit MindBridge, which works to close cultural gaps in mental health support for immigrant communities. Early results show Lucia reduces miscommunication, builds trust, and provides relatable, judgment-free support. Looking ahead, Lucia can be scaled to schools, healthcare providers, and localization partners worldwide, creating safer and faster access to mental health support across languages, cultures, and even age gaps. And in behalf of Cate School and Centific, thank you for your time.
I just lost myself there. Kunqi, very nice job. Really interesting. Great to have you here. Let's take a question, Celine.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, there's obviously some ethical considerations to be taken for a tool like this, but it's a very ambitious one to do. Can you tell us a little bit more on how you have trained it to cultural nuances? Because I understand the linguistic aspect of it, but I think the way we treat mental well-being in different cultures is quite different. So do you have any examples of what you have done for that?
Yes, so one of our main focuses when creating and training Lucia AI was to make sure that we have talked to these mental health experts and have surveyed people throughout my high school, which I've actually personally done. And this makes sure that we cover all types of, as you've mentioned, ethical concerns. When a kid says, "Oh, Lucia, I'm so tired, I want to skip school." Lucia's not going to say, "If that helps you, you should skip school." We have taken these mental health considerations in mind, and these are things that we have worked with, and it's one of our significant goals that we hope that we can actually really focus, because this is something that other chatbots don't particularly prioritize when programming their chat.
Thank you, Kunqi. Thank you, Celine.
Thank you.
Now let's move on to the second to last presentation for today by Vella from Lokalise, who is gonna talk about AI models that adapt to your brand through RAG. Luke, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello all, I'm Luke from Malta from Lokalise, and I'm here to introduce our self-learning custom translation AI models built to finally solve one of the biggest scaling challenges in localization. That's delivering truly brand-adapted translations at speed and scale. Next slide, please. So demand to localize content is exploding, but the quality bar has not moved. AI has raised expectations that translation should scale instantly, yet generic LLMs miss brand voice and specialized terminology, so teams end up doing more post-editing. Our answer to this challenge is a tailored self-learning model for each customer that learns from their own translation history to guarantee consistency and alignment. Let's move on to the next slide to see how it works. First, we fuse our customers' glossaries, brand guidelines, and other contexts to prime and customize our AI models to their content. Then, for every new content segment that requires translation, we retrieve relevant past translations that were either proofread by humans in the past, were saved within the translation memory, or were intentionally selected for model training purposes to augment and generate these improved translations, aligned with all of this provided context. So this process, which is what RAG refers to, ensures on-brand and linguistically consistent outputs. Finally, our AI scoring agent then flags translations that still need a human review, typically around 10% or so linguists focus only where their value matters most. And cumulatively, this makes the model smarter and more brand aligned with every translation cycle. Let's talk results in the next slide. Against the standard industry benchmarks, our customer AI models with RAG outperform. Blue scores 50 with our model versus 17.5 with GPT 4.1. Meteor 0.8 versus 0.56. Even perfect match rate with reference training data sets is 52% versus 14.5%. But numbers aren't the whole story, as some of our customers have confirmed. And this is probably the key advantage of our solution. It works in a real world environment and not just with reference data sets used for model training purposes. In real world A/B tests with more than 100 production customers, 78% saw acceptance rate improvements. As you can see in the bottom left there, nearly half experienced a jump of over 10% in acceptance of AI-powered translations, some even up to 20–30%. And when we ran blind tests with enterprise clients, the acceptance rates of our models output and human translations were virtually the same, around 90%. And this means we're not only matching human quality, but doing so at a speed and scale never before possible. So in short, our self-learning custom AI models make it possible for localization teams to scale and future-proof their operations like never before. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Luke. Very interesting stuff. Let's see if we have a question for you. Salvo.
Yes, absolutely. Very cool idea. Can you, again, give us more details on how you measured that impact? So I understand you did both automatic testing through Blue and other metrics, and then double blind.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit more detail? Thank you.
Yes, so there were 3 tests. One, as you said, automatic testing using the typical kind of first. The second one, which because when we received feedback from customers, it was like, oh, we tried other solutions. There's maybe other solutions that have a similar solution. But actually, when I tried it on my own content, it didn't work. So then we really wanted to make sure this works in a real life environment. So we did an A/B test. So this customers didn't know about this A/B test. We replaced our AI. We built a custom model based on their data and replaced kind of their AI silently with that. And we compared the control and a variant to see if there was an improvement in acceptance rate. And these were the results. Finally, just for more, we also, with our enterprise customers who we were working very closely, we also did like a blind test. We took 100 terms, we showed them either the human translation or the AI generated one based on acceptance rate, yes or no, and we received the same, more or less the same acceptance rate. Sometimes it even outperforms. It depends on the content.
Got it.
Hope that answers the question.
Very good. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke and Salvo. And now let's move to the last presenter for today. My namesake, Marina Sánchez Torrón from Smartling, who is gonna talk about how to upscale prompt design.
Well, good morning, afternoon, and thank you, Dragons and the host, for giving me the opportunity to show some of the work that we're doing at Smartling. So today I'm talking about coding, not writing prompts at scale for self-optimizing auto LQA. So yeah, let's go next slide, please. So you likely be familiar with this prompt engineering pain point. So experimentation is slow. Testing different prompts and examples can take significant time, but it involves a lot of trial and error. Scaling is difficult because prompts don't always generalize well across customers, domains, or languages. And setting up robust evaluation pipelines is very complex. And in addition, code requirements grow to account for issues with formatting or any other errors, for example. So all these drives development and maintenance costs up. Next slide, please. And so, but there's a way to greatly reduce or avoid these pain points by coding self-optimizing auto-create prompts with a Python library called DSPy. When I say coding prompts, I mean not writing them, but just defining inputs, in this case, a text for evaluation, and desired outputs, which would be an evaluation of such a text. And when I say self-optimizing, I mean setting the system up to periodically adjust the prompt and relevant examples to improve its performance based on past data. So the advantages of this approach are that development and evaluation become much faster, so there's less trial and error, and evaluation is easier. It's a system that is scalable by design because you can make it adapt to different customers, domains, languages. And robustness is built in. You have automatic validation. That means you can validate the outputs to make sure that they are reliable. And prompt performance in this way is optimized over time because the system learns. And all this leads to lower costs because of reduced rework, easier maintenance, and faster experimentation. So you're saving time and resources in the long run. Next slide, please. So as for how this optimized prompt perform in practice, so our research compared manual prompt engineering versus automated optimization using DSPy. We used a small local model, Mistral 8B, and evaluated 88 English to Spanish sentences. So we found that manual prompting achieved 60% error detection accuracy, and automated optimization with DSPy's Simba, which this is the name of the optimizer, reached 72%. So that's a 12 percentage point improvement. And severity classification into 3 severities also improved from 59 to 69%. So as a conclusion, implementing this code and optimize approach in production systems can not only lower the prompt engineering pain points we've seen earlier, but it can also improve prompt performance compared to conventional prompt engineering. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. This is an excellent idea and prototype. How do you plan to mitigate for high impact risk, like human over-reliance, reliability, over potential degradation, and all that?
Okay, this would be, I think, using the DSPy kind of forces you to look at maintaining the system rather than maintaining the prompt. So I would say that the usual systems kind of safeguards apply here. So monitoring, making sure you can do a rollback because you have a baseline prompt, and you have the ability to intervene when you need it. Also, you can control when and with which frequency you optimize the data, and you can check and validate accuracy before putting anything in production.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marina. This sounds so interesting. I hope I'll catch you somewhere to tell me more about that. And now, what's next? Dave, make sure to unmute yourself before you try to say something. I noticed you were
spotted that. Well, firstly, well done to all the innovators today. Really great job. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas. And it's not always easy, but we appreciate the effort and your time. So well done there. Where are we going? Well, this is a path to going to the final, which is in Monterey on the 15th of October in the afternoon. So we'd love to bring you all with us, but unfortunately we can't. And the Dragons are, and thank you, Dragons, very nice job. They will be making their decision, and the decisions made just by the Dragons for getting to the final. But that's what it's about. We're going to have 2 more preliminary round sessions, both tomorrow and the following day, Wednesday. And I'd like to just thank you all. Marina, any final comments before we wrap today's session?
I really love the session. We had such strong innovations on day 1. I am, my mind is blown away by what I saw. So thank you very much for driving progress in our industry, for presenting, and special thanks to the Dragons and to everybody who had to get up